Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast. Sparky Coach Podcast, Crowy here. This is Your Smile Fades in the Summer, part 2. You can even say that in a Blink-182 sense if you want. Your smile fades in the summer. What a time to be alive. Great song. Great band, actually. So anyway, this is podcast part 2 about Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming at you. It's 12 weeks away or maybe even closer, depending on when this podcast comes out. But you want to be in the right side of a good January. And anyone that's been on the wrong side of a bad January is going to tell you it's going to takes months to recover. And sometimes it can take a year to recover. And I think in business, you want to consistently be making good decisions. And one bad decision, just like one bad apple ruins a batch, sometimes one bad decision, that $1 million project that's out of your league, that 300 grand project that's out of your league, that staff member you probably should have got rid of, that you didn't, that staff member you probably should have hired, but you didn't, that admin you probably should have hired, but you didn't, the admin that was stealing money that you should have got rid of. That sounds ridiculous, but admin, you got to watch who you employ and you got to take back control of your business. It's your business. It's your culture. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to employ that person. You don't have to keep that person. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to take that job. You don't have to take that job for that price. You need to know your numbers, double down, and run a really great business that works for really good people, that works with really good people, that makes really good money. That puts you to sleep at night in a nice way. That's what you want to do. And if you're not doing that, that's not good enough. Something needs to change. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something might need to change. So coming into this, your smile fades in the summer. That was pretty good, actually. It sounded good, but my accents, I keep getting told my accents suck. Anyway, so I'm going to go through a few things today. Couple of things you can practically do. I'm going to go through 4 points today. Couple of things you can practically do to make your December, January, your Christmas time the best one it has ever been. And that's the goal of business. One of the big goals of business is that you should always be getting better. Are you going to be perfect? No, but you should be getting better. You should be getting better, consistently getting better, consistently progressing, consistently moving. I say moving forward. I don't mean that in like an aggressive revenue style. I just mean just getting better. Everything should be a bit smoother, a bit stronger, a bit faster, a bit sexier, a bit more Daft Punk in your life. Stronger, better, faster, stronger, whatever they say. I know I said stronger twice then, but roll with me. All right. Current staffing. We're coming into a busy season. I want to talk about your current staffing. So are you happy with your current people or are you not happy with your current people? I would say this, the busy times when things get busy, staff are very, very easy to ignore. When things get quite busy, it's very easy to ignore that staff catch up, to have that additional conversation with the staff member. It's very easy to land yourself in a mode where a staff member could quit. Why? Because you've been too busy, too preoccupied, too disorganized. They've been working too many hours. I remember for me, and you've got to reference this in your own life, I remember for me turning up to a few jobs in a row and I'm like, we're going to get out of this job in 2 days, in 3 days. We're going to get out of these undergrounds. And I'm like just going nuts. And then I was like, holy crap, I'm misquoting all this stuff and then putting pressure on the staff to deliver. And I'm like, this is a 2-day job. Throwing pairs of pliers at your face. Crazy times. And it's just like, I was projecting my stress, the pressure I was feeling, the financial pressure I was feeling upon the poor staff members. And, that's kind of a funny story. No one's laughing about throwing pliers at someone's face, but, that's a funny analogy. But have you done that before too? Or have you done something similar? It's very, very easy to do, to take out pressure and stress upon people. specifically staff members. And I think you just got to watch that. So if you're consistently putting your staff members under time pressure, you might just need to quote differently, not put that much pressure on them. But current staffing, I feel like, well, I don't like to call them staff performance reviews because I don't like that terminology. I prefer staff check-in. Staff check-in is just getting in front, deliberately getting in front of a staff member. And how many times a year, just as you're driving now or as you're listening, and how many times a year do you think that is appropriate there? I think we'd probably all agree that 4 times a year, which is quarterly, is a lot, and twice a year is probably borderline not enough. So I think we'd all agree that sitting down deliberately with your staff members between 2 and 4 times a year, deliberately for an hour, for a coffee, a kombucha, a beer, a schnitzel, some kind of vegan burger, depending on where you're operating. Big fan of a cheeseburger. I'd like to give a big appreciation shout out to the cheeseburger, specifically a good cheeseburger, not so much a double. And I'm not a double meat guy. I'll never bacon a cheeseburger. It's just like a straight up classic cheeseburger, American cheeseburger, you might even say. Important things in life, I think, the cheeseburger. Anyway, we digress. 2 is borderline too low, and 4 catch-ups a year is borderline too much. So we've got a really good staff check-in form that if you need that, just reach out and I'll send it over to you. A really good staff check-in form that basically just goes through how are you going? Like, how's everything going on site? And what are you doing well? What are you doing not so well? How's everything going off site with job notes, clean van, communication, organization? How are you going off site? What are you doing well? What are you doing not so well? How's the company going? What do you think the company is doing well? Or what do you think the company is doing not so well? This is incredibly important to ask the right people the right questions at the right time, right? If you ask the right person that question with the right spirit, you're going to get a great answer. And you want to know the answer. How's the company going? You want to know the answer. Actually, you know what? You put us under pressure a lot. Actually, far out, it'd be really good if we all use ServiceMate properly, Simpro properly, Fergus properly, Teams properly. It'd be really good if at my old company, we used to do this. Actually, you know what? I'm struggling with the 9 p.m. text messages. Actually, you know what? I don't know where the chaser is. Who's got the chaser? Is it the factory? Is it in Ted's car? Is it in Billy's car? Is it under Billy's house? I don't even know. I'd like to know where the asset register, where that stuff is. So can we introduce like a sign in, sign out thing? You want that information. And I love the final question, which is there anything else that you would like to bring up? And sometimes it's like, oh, remember that van you promised me 18 months ago? I just think you want to know the answer to these questions and you want to get in front of people. And it doesn't always have to be a pay rise. The easiest way to iron out someone consistently looking for a pay rise, because I think the fear is normally if I give them a performance review, they're going to tell me they're performing and they're going to tell me they want a pay rise. That's usually the fear. And sometimes a pay rise is warranted. But if you can try and get your pay rises into that April, May area, and then you can try and on-cost that pay rise with a rise in rates as of July 1. If you can try and sort of strategically put the pay rises to once a year, you'll take a lot of pressure off yourself and your staff members. They'll know it's coming. You'll know it's coming. You'll be able to budget for it, and you'll be able to hopefully pass that on to the clients. Because if you don't pass your pay rises onto clients, in terms of if you're giving everyone a $5 an hour pay rise and you're like Oprah, you get $5. You get $5. Don't forget with pay rises. I remember someone said this to me once. They're like, you can go up in 1s and 2s. You don't have to go up in 5s and 10s. You can go up in 1s and 2s, That's really interesting. You don't have to go from 40 to 45 to 50 to 55 to 60 to 65 to 70. You can go from 40 to 41, 50, from 40 to 41, from 40 to 42. There's plenty of options you can sort of dabble in there. But yeah, now's not the time to be losing good to great to excellent staff members. And if you're not careful and you're too busy and you take your eyes off the prize, these good people can get disgruntled, frustrated. Oh, they're always sending me with these plans on a napkin. I don't actually want to do this kind of work. If you're sending a service person to a project work or to project work, or a project person to service work, the fastest way to kill a project person's mojo is to send them to 100 small jobs for a month. They'll just be like, this actually sucks. My job was better yesterday when I was working at the same place for a month. So you got to know your people, and yeah, they got to work with you. Of course, I'm not saying that, but it's like, but now it's not time to be losing staff members because you didn't do 1 or 2 extra meetings. Now, on this, I will say one thing that keeps coming up for me. You're never going to guess it. Just take a sec and be like, what is it? What could it possibly be? This is it, right? Apprentice hiring, apprentice hiring, apprentice hiring. Do I have a preference between mature age and junior? No, I don't. I've seen both work. I will preface this. If you're doing hourly rate work, you'll be making $10 an hour more of a junior apprentice. That's the facts, right? You can't argue with that. 15 versus 25, you're going to be making a lot more money from a junior, and that may need to be a consideration into your business, right? But in terms of, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about holistically, how many apprentices do you think you're going to hire in the next 10 years? For some of you, it's 10. I'm going to put 10 people through their time. For others of you, it's 2 to 3. So let's just hypothetically take a middle ground at 6. Let's take 5 is actually quite easy math for me. So let's just take, most people put 5 or 6 people through their time within a decade, right? 10's a lot, 2's not that much. You're going to put through 5 or 6. So what you're trying to say is here, think we're in an absolute trade shortage. Make no mistake. People can't find good staff members. Good staff members have jobs, and those good staff members that have jobs are normally getting paid well. And someone who's getting paid well and treated well is far likely to leave the company than someone who's not getting paid that well and who's not getting treated well. So what's that telling you? Treat your staff well and pay them well. It's very, very important. But across an apprentice is your organic opportunity to produce a tradie. So coming into the often with a big decision, you've got to ask yourself a question: is this going to matter in 5 years? And the apprentice you choose, yes, this is going to matter in 5 years. So that tells me that an apprentice hire is a big decision. Not necessarily do I hire the apprentice or not. That's a pretty simple decision most of the time. If the apprentice was billable last week, billable this week, and billable next week, and going to be billable into the near future, probably a good idea to hire. We're not talking about if it's a good idea to hire an apprentice or not. We're talking about who am I hiring? Am I hiring the right person? Because hiring someone that stays for 4 years is an absolute God-given gift to your business. That's performing, that's getting along with people, that's doing excellent work with an excellent attitude. Someone that breezes through their TAFE and their 4th year is completely billable, so you're making maximum return on them. Someone that stays around at the company for 3 to 5 years after they finish their apprenticeship, that's a great hire. Versus someone who's tire kicking their way through that, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm not sure. I might be an Instagram model. I might go sail the south coast of Croatia. Shirt optional. Actually, forget about that. Pants optional. Pants and shirt optional. Speedos must, right? I want that Greek tan. I want that Croatian tan. That's someone that just breezes in and out of jobs, doesn't really care. Someone that ends up in their 4 years, I'm actually going traveling now. Yeah, I'm not sure if electrical's for me. I'm going to go traveling. I'm going to find myself. I haven't really find myself in a roof space. And while no one necessarily finds themselves in a roof space, you got to be onto this. Like you want to hire the right person, someone that's going to be a blessing to your company, someone that's going to put in the hard work, someone that's going to get better, someone that's going to be an asset to your company, someone's going to stay around for 3 to 5 years. You need to make good decisions when hiring an apprentice. If your apprentice is not cutting the mustard, you need to know that quickly and you need to resolve that swiftly. And for some of them, a resolve is, hey, I need you to tighten this up. It's not good enough. And for some of you, a resolve for some of them is like, this is not the company for you. And too often you see people hold on to apprentices for 2 or 3 years and it's not the right fit. And it's like, by the time it comes, now it's like, I can't get rid of them because I've held on to them for 3 years and I'm just going to keep them till their time. And they see out their time and the apprentice quits or there's no place for them in the company. And it's like, I knew that 4 years ago. I just wasted my organic opportunity to produce a tradie on this person who may as well be a potato. So it's like, actually a potato will at least give me some carbohydrates. Right? At least a potato. This person is giving me 0 carbs. and I want zig ups, right? Crazy. Now I'm thinking about Step Brothers when he goes, I haven't had a carb since 2004. Great movie, Step Brothers. Would highly recommend you to watch that again. But make sure you're on the right side of hiring the right apprentice. Make sure you're on the right side of hiring the right apprentice. So busy season coming into it, how to make your life easier in this busy season. Don't lose the good people. Don't lose the forest and the trees. Price jobs well, pay people well, treat people well. And if you're consistently putting people under pressure, you got to check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. All right, point number 2. Additional staffing. Do you need additional staffing coming into this busy season? Right? It's 28 degrees right now. I don't know what it's like where you are, but I'm in a t-shirt and shorts. And matter of fact, I might not even have pants on. You can't even tell from this podcast. Might be that weird guy podcasting with no pants on, bit of a phobia. Shout out to my friend Ben, who used to poo in public spaces with no clothes on regularly. Fold him up and put him on his lap. What a time to be alive. Shout out to the big dog. All right, so additional staffing. Do you need additional staffing coming in? Subcontracting. Subcontractors are notoriously disorganized and they're notoriously cheap. I'd say more than likely the cost price for a tradie for you is $95 to $105. Like between 85 and 105, you would say that's pretty typical cost price for a tradie for you, including wage, super, and overhead. And subcontractors, a lot of times you're getting for 70 to 85, something along those lines. So you're getting them a little bit cheaper than you would a tradie, and they're notoriously disorganized. And because they started their business, they're normally pretty good, pretty capable. And that's why they started their subcontracting business, because they don't want to work for no one and they're good at their job. And they end up falling into this circle trap of just like basically being an employee. They'd be actually a lot better off being an employee for many reasons, but the ego doesn't allow that for whatever reason. So it's like, if you are a subcontractor, not discounting it, you might need to break out of the habit. If you're going to full-time subcontract, more than likely 99 times out of 100, you're better off on wages. There's just the facts of life. If you don't understand that, let me know. I'll sit down with you, show you some spreadsheets, and rock and roll into that. So do you need to organize some more labor, subcontracting, or maybe you need to hire a tradie or an apprentice for this busy season coming up? Maybe, just maybe, you need an admin. You need to get some admin into you, right? So a lot of times that people can have a low overhead or a manageable overhead because they're volunteering their administration to the company. And a lot of times, a lot of the places business owners feel stuck is the admin. So I can get the on-site work stuff done. That's fine. I'm good at that. It's like I can't just do 8 to 10 hours on site and then come home and do 3 to 4 hours in the office. It's actually affecting my family, affecting my mojo, affecting my mental health, affecting my ability to watch rugby league or watch surfing or actually play rugby league or go surfing. It's affecting my ability to go to the gym. It's affecting my ability to do Pilates. We all know I love Pilates. It's just affecting my life now. And a lot of times people get stuck in the business because they just need to put an admin on. And the reality is, coming into a busy season, things are going to get busier. You might need to put an admin on. A lot of times, generally speaking, the rule is this, that if you're by yourself, you need 1 day a week in the office. And for every tradie thereafter, you need a day. So if I had myself, I need a day in the office. And if I got 3 tradies, then I need another 3 days in the office. 1 plus 3 is 4. I need 4 days in the office. That's generally the rule of thumb. Maybe I can pay someone for one of those days to do those mundane, repetitive admin tasks. That's great. So now I need 3 days in the office and someone's doing that extra day. That's generally the way the calculator works and people's administration works. Generally, not all the time, but it's a pretty like good synopsis, you would say. So a lot of times it's like fire. Looking at it holistically, I need to get that admin on board. And yes, my overhead is going to go up, but also now I'm going to be seated in the right spot. I'm going to be seated in the throne room, not the toilet, the throne room of your business, which is high level quoting. It is finding staff. It is retaining staff. It is finding clients and retaining clients. Those are the 5 levels of the throne room before you're at the beach, right? That's essentially what you want to be doing. If you're getting bogged down reconciling or mundane administration tasks, you got to watch that. And maybe you've got to hire an admin and help them out and push through. But, do you need additional staffing coming into this busy season? What do you need? Flesh your schedule out. I really encourage you, if you haven't listened to part 1 of Your Smile Fades in the Summer, if you haven't listened to part 1, go back and listen to that. And that'll give you big overview of what we're talking about here. So this coming to this busy season, do you need to look after your current staffing more? Do you need additional staffing? And what are you going to do about it, right? Now, we also want to set the standard. What standard is okay in your business and what's not? Have you written it down? And when I say standards, everyone's like, oh, I don't really have any processes. But I'm talking like standards. Sort of every single week have my invoices being sent. Huge standard. Have the invoices I've sent been checked for net profit and gross profit? Am I closing the month? Are the quotes getting out on time? Is the phone getting answered? Are the clients getting responded to? Am I catching up with the staff? Am I assessing the workload and how that's going every single week? Am I doing the schedule, or am I just flying by the seat of my pants every single week? Is the product, this is a huge question to ask yourself, is the product remaining of a high quality consistently week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out? Because so often you can be getting work done, but the product's dropping. The client's still waiting for their pendant light to be fit off. The client's moved in and you've still got to fit off. You're cutting out after painting because you're busy. Your variations bill is coming in every third full moon because, you're not organized in the office. So, insert whatever product really, but like your product has to remain of a high quality. So it's time to start to set some standards. And once we set some standards, we can work out what we stand for, like what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. If you don't have any standards, you don't know what you stand for. And if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. Let me say that again. If you've got a set of standards, you'll know what's acceptable, what's not. You'll know what I'm standing up for. Invoices have to get sent weekly. If you don't have these sort of like standards in your business, you'll just trip over anything. You'll trip over the next thing that happens. The phone will ring and you get distracted. The quote will come through for the non-ideal client and you'll spend 4 days on it. You've got no direction and zero responsibility, zero accountability, and you're busy, but you're not performing. And we can all be, that's a big question to ask yourself. Are you busy or are you performing? And sometimes they're two different things. Sometimes you can be busy on the wrong tasks with the wrong people, barking up the wrong tree, and it's like the business isn't performing. Yeah, I've been busy for 12 months. Oh, I don't even know what I made last year. I don't even know what my overhead is. I don't even know how to price that job. I don't even have a price book. I don't even know what my break-even rate is. So like, well, what have you been doing? That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You are living on a prayer, Bon Jovi style. But Bon Jovi's at least sexy. There's nothing sexy about your business if you're acting like that, right? Is Bon Jovi sexy? I mean, I guess he kind of is. Not my type. I prefer a little brunette personally, girl. But that's just me. Maybe you love Bon Jovi. Anyway, we digress. All right, coming into here. Set the standard. Weekly invoices, everyone gotten back to that kind of stuff. So if we start to set the standard, we'll know what's acceptable moving forward. And if we look in a month's time when we're really busy and we're unable to hit our own standards of non-negotiables for the week, then that's a big red flag, a big warning sign. Hey, stop traffic. Something is wrong. Something needs to change. All right, so set the standards. That's going to help you work out what you can and can't do and help you work out who needs to do what and do you need to employ someone, right? Now, the final point we've had, check out your current staffing. Don't lose anyone in this busy time. Check out if you need additional staffing and start to put the chess pieces into place right now. Start to make those queens. No one's going to trade their pawn for a king. That'd be psycho. Trade your pawn for a queen. Do you know you can have as many queens as you want on a chessboard as long as your pawns get there? Crazy times, crazy. Additional staffing, set the standard. Now, the last thing you want to do is plan. You got to start to work out what date are you finishing this December? What's the final date on site? When is your Christmas party? What other Christmas parties do you need to factor in? I'm a massive believer you should go to as many Christmas parties as you possibly can. Christmas parties are such a great time of breaking bread together, hanging out with good friends, hanging out with clients, making clients your friends, bringing your operations managers and other staff members into the client's realm. And there's just nothing quite like having some beers or kombuchas with people. It's such a beautiful time of year. Christmas is such a beautiful time of year. But when is your Christmas party? And what are you doing for it? When are you returning? Is it the 7th, the 5th, the 12th? Is anyone on call over the break? is that person you? Someone's going to have to be on call. And I want to get into this in the next part 3, January clients. I want to really dial that because that's a huge conversation to have. But when are you starting? When are you finishing? Who's on call? How much annual leave have your staff members got? Do they have enough to suffice the break, right? Or do they need to go into unpaid leave, which is dramatic for a calculator? What do they need to dip into? Hopefully nothing, right? Do they go into leave without pay or negative annual leave? We need to work that out. You need to know that kind of stuff. What clients need to be serviced over that Christmas break, which is usually the 23rd to the 2nd or something like that, and what clients have I got coming up into January? The more I can start to plan and be dialed and be organized, the more pressure it's going to take off me. Planning shouldn't be stressful. Planning should take pressure off you. So when you start to know this kind of stuff, and like I said, anyone that's sitting on the wrong side of January it's going to take you months to catch up from that. You want to be on the right side of January. Another huge question to ask is, how much money do I need to have in the business account to suffice January? Let's say the whole company, let's say you've got 10 staff members and your wages bill is 20 grand, right? And everyone's having 2 weeks off. Well, we're shutting from the 23rd to the 10th. Cool. So you're going to need $40,000, whatever, including super or whatever, whatever. You're going to need $40,000 for wages. And let's say your operating expenses is let's say it's $25,000 a month. There's 12.5 grand that's going to come out as well. So you're going to need $52,000 in the business account. If you're generating no revenue, zero revenue over the break, then obviously there's no materials. With no revenue is no materials. So, but there's going to be nothing chipping away. That's a cold-blooded $50,000 you're going to need in the business account, right? That's what you're going to need. So, and then if you're you might be like, oh no, Joey and Susie and Billy are working over the break. We're going to be generating $20,000 of revenue over that. Okay, cool. Well, then you're going to need 50 minus 20. You're going to need $30,000 in the business account. So it's like, don't come up short this Christmas. Be really conscious of your personal spending, of your business spending. Christmas is a time where everyone can just spend whatever you want on your credit card and just deal with it later. And I want to encourage you to there's a really cool book called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's not going to tell you any groundbreaking information, but although it's well worth a read, it's basically going to tell you spend less than you earn and see debt as thy enemy. It's going to tell you those two things. And I think the spend less than you earn situation is huge. In a world where you can spend whatever you want and deal with ATO debt or wholesaler bills later, I just think it's time to wrangle your finances in. It's time to be diligent. It's time to spend less than you earn. It's time to care about what you spend. It's time to, if you don't have a business credit card, you're going to be diligent. That's a fantastic, business credit cards are absolutely fantastic to use points wise and just in general for cash flow wise. They are diabolical if you're not paying them back on time. So this Christmas, I want to encourage you to get organized and have the best December and January yet. How do you have the best December and January yet? You keep your stuff. You look at bringing on new stuff. You set some standards in the business that you're going to stand for. Otherwise, you'll fall for anything. And you start to recognize some key dates. Christmas party, other people's Christmas party, start date, stop date, who's working over the break, what jobs do I have to get done over the break? Do I have enough labor to suit January? When is Joey coming back? Is the annual leave organized? What do I need to do? How much money is in the bank? All this kind of stuff is going to make your a seamless transition. Because what do you want? I just think you want to make your business an asset. And then we're all at different stages of that journey. Some of you are absolutely cooking and you'll probably have January off. And some of you are struggling and you'll need to get back to work sooner rather than later. And you got to know that, because you can't move forward from a place you're not at. You are where you are, and that's okay. But there's no point trying to be somewhere you're not. You can only move forward from where you're currently at. So take those 4 pieces of advice. We'll see you for part 3 soon. Crow Dog signing out. One last time. Your smile fades in the summer. Place your hand. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. See you guys soon. Bye. That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules. Be kind. See you soon.